What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I appreciate you tuning in today, whether you're here on YouTube, on Rumble, BitChute, or Odyssey, or Minds. I'm glad you've chosen to watch today's video. I hope that you'll leave a like on it and subscribe using whichever platform you're on, because it helps the channel grow, and I appreciate it. Now, the case between that we've been following here on this channel, mostly in terms of JD, let's now focus on Amber Heard and some insane demands she's making in the face of nearly 1 million people now signing a petition to remove her from Aquaman 2. Nearly 1 million people. If you do some back of the napkin math, that's $15 million in box office. If each one of them were to buy a ticket, right? I know that's probably being, how do you say, there are definitely people that are signing this petition that probably wouldn't have paid to see the movie. But also understand that each person who signed this is probably telling somebody IRL. There are fathers, there are mothers who have signed this list that have kids that are canceling out 3 or 4 tickets. So this might be as much as $30 million or $40 million in sales. This is a massive group of people that have now decided to boycott this film. Understand that 1 million people get an update every time this movie is going to start doing press, and it's going to be a total mess for Warner Brothers. If you look, this is something I've covered before, but just checking in, we are now at 903,000 and growing rapidly signatures on a petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2. Now, I understand that petitions are petitions and blah, 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 blah. They don't get a lot done. But at the end of the day, I think if you are signing this, you're probably more likely to, how do I say, not pay to see this movie. And just 2 days ago, there's been updates on how JD stood no chance in his UK trial against The Sun because Justice Nicol was a lawyer championing for freedom of the press for the New York Times, or for the Times, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who employs his son. The judge's son also works with the defendant Dan Wooten. This combined with other connections between the judge and set JD up to fail from the beginning. There are innumerable connections between the judge and which makes it feel like he never had a chance to begin with. But now you can see some media, granted, we got this covered, so there's that. But it's starting to make headlines. Petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 closes in on 1 million signatures. J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World and adaptations of DC comic characters are Warner Brothers' 2 biggest revenue streams by quite some distance. So much for that only 4 of the studio's 20 highest grossing movies ever don't hail from those 2 respective franchises. And 3 of the 4 are Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy. The last thing the studio would want then is their biggest cash cows to become embroiled in controversy so that they could potentially affect the box office takings. However, that's exactly what they're going to have to deal with in 2022 when Fantastic Beasts 3 and Aquaman 2 arrive. The 3rd installment in the Harry Potter sequel series was already facing an uphill battle after The Crimes of Grindelwald was a massive disappointment, both from critical and commercial standpoint. And things have only gotten worse as J.K. Rowling continues to find herself in the mud, and the public firmly siding with JD after he was forced to resign. James Wan's Aquaman 2 looked to be in better position after becoming the highest grossing DC movie in history, but the presence of as the Mera has been a source of anger for many. People are calling for a boycott of the superhero sequel, and now the long-running petition to have her removed from the role is closing in on 1 million signatures. 1 million. And his fans, I don't even necessarily say that it's Johnny's fans in particular, but it's fans of justice, fans of men's rights, fans of a fair trial. Now, I've been on the record saying that, look, I think both of them were equal parts toxic in this relationship. I'm not going to worship JD because he seems to have problems, the same kind of problems you would expect from any Hollywood actor. But also, AH has the same problems. Now, I don't say their whole names. I probably already have too many times, but for whatever reason, YouTube does not like to spread these videos around. So I hope that you will leave a like on it and share it as well. But mainstream media, now we can see that she's actually fighting for a bigger role. What an insane demand to make. Just 24 hours ago, it's been reported that after Johnny Depp got $10 million for being fired from Fantastic Beasts 3, having signed a pay-or-play contract when he first boarded on the franchise, but the actor's career prospects have taken another significant hit. The 57-year-old retains the support of his fans, though who believe he's being unfairly treated by Warner Brothers, especially when AH remains on board to play the female lead in the studio's Aquaman 2. When they start promoting Aquaman 2, it's going to be a debacle. Think about it. Every single tweet will be that they put out to promote this film will be about it. Every single interview they do, it's going to get brought up. Now, while there's also a petition of nearly 250,000 people to have Johnny reinstated as Pirates of the Caribbean's Jack Sparrow, over 800,000. Now, by the way, in 24 hours, it went up by another 100,000. It's going to be 1 million by the end of the day. Have demanded she be removed. And you could see Emilia Clarke replacing Amber. You could probably pull it off. They basically look the same. Seeing as Warner Brothers are willing to part ways with Depp from one franchise, then surely they're at least considering booting AH from the other. But it appears that for now, they're only planning to reduce her role, something the 34-year-old actress isn't too happy with. In fact, according to insider Daniel Rickman, she's fighting for an increased part in the pick. Are you crazy? You're literally fighting for more screen time when there's 1 million people that are going to mobilize. I can't believe you think you're not going to be fired. Now, I would argue that Warner Brothers is probably going to wait till the case between the two, before making a decision on AH, but they didn't wait on Johnny. Heard wants and fighting for a bigger role in Aquaman 2, since they are trying to reduce her role, says a tipster. Mara was hardly a full-formed or three-dimensional character in the original film, and her performance wasn't memorable in the slightest. But despite a lot of modern blockbusters focusing more time and energy on prominent female parts, the continued negativity swirling around her mere existence more than likely means that Warner Brothers aren't going to acquiesce to her requests, even if she remains on board by the time Aquaman 2 starts filming next year. That is. You have 250,000 people demanding. I mean, look, when you hear Pirates of the Caribbean, right? When you hear that, what do you think of? You think of Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, immediately. Like, he is the franchise. There's absolutely zero Pirates of the Caribbean films that I want to see without Johnny Depp. And to be honest with you, no disrespect to Margot Robbie. By the way, you know, I think she got a raw deal in Birds of Prey. And she's going to get a raw deal in this film when she takes over as the female lead. People are going to send a lot of vitriol Margot Robbie's way, and it's really not her fault. It's Disney. I mean, it's not her fault for taking the job, right? Whether you agree with the sentiment or not, there's no denying that the entire 5-film series was marketed almost entirely on the back of Jack Sparrow, which turned Johnny Depp into one of the highest paid stars in the industry and yielded nearly $5 billion at the box office. However, Disney has since dropped the actor from the franchise entirely and are now planning ahead with the 6th film and spin-off without him. Obviously, fans were furious at the decision, and following a huge wave of support gathered behind the 57-year-old since being forced to resign from Fantastic Beasts, petitions to have him reinstated to Pirates of the Caribbean are now closing in on 250,000 signatures. I mean, make no mistake about it. even if all these people weren't potential customers, which you might argue, but certainly a large portion of them could be, they're going to be all over your marketing. They're going to be all over every tweet, all over every video, all over every YouTube comment section. These films are going to be plagued. So I think what Disney and Warner Brothers are left with ultimately here is an option to just drop the franchise going forward or reinstate the original actors and just accept that what people do in their own time isn't really any of your business. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.